Welcome to PR Powerhouse, helping female entrepreneurs to get in the press and to gain PR. I'm Jo Swan, and I'll be sharing how to harness the power of the media to boost your credibility and business visibility, no matter what stage in business you're at. Because I'm on a mission to show you that PR is not just for the big boys. In this show, you'll learn how to reach out to journalists and own your place in the press, because you are ready to become a PR powerhouse.
Hello, and welcome to episode 15 of PR Powerhouse. Today is quite a fun one. Today is going to be quite a playful one. Last week's turned into quite a long session, actually. It wasn't planned that way particularly. It just was one that kind of had a bit of a mind of its own, and it got quite deep. It got quite intense. So I'm changing it up a little bit today, and it's going to be short and sweet. And today we're talking about the power of being playful with PR. And what we're going to be covering is how to use awareness days and diary dates to get press coverage. So if you remember, going back a few episodes, kind of back to basics, where we talk about actually how PR works and what's needed to get yourself some good PR coverage. We talk a lot about providing the media with what they want and what they need, and providing them with that information in a timely manner. So awareness days and diary dates are actually a PR godsend. And in fact, many are actually created by PRs in the first place to give themselves the leverage that they need to actually get themselves in the media based on the clients that they're working with. So when we are looking to get media coverage, one of the rules of the game is to provide timely, topical content. And awareness days and diary dates hand this to us on an absolute plate. So what am I actually talking about here? Let me just rewind for just a second, because I might be talking a foreign language to some of you, but I've just realised that you might not have a clue what I am on about. It's so easy to take for granted what we do every day, but my purpose of this podcast is to strip things back for you, so I'm going to do just that. So awareness days and diary dates are themed, topic-based days that come up across the year. So it's things like Stress Awareness Week, Mental Health Awareness Month, National Book Day. These kinds of things, often created by a charity or PR agency, like I said, to direct attention to a certain cause or organisation at a key point in the year. Now, from a PR perspective, these are absolute gold, because it's often a way that the media plan topical content into their schedules. So all sorts of media like to have things mapped out in advance in terms of content that they know they're going to be talking about. It just gives them a little bit of structure alongside the reactive stuff that they do day to day. So they know that these days are coming up. They plan to create content around them. So let's think, if you can provide them with ready-made content on a given subject, that's their job done, right? That gives you a big tick. That gives you a massive tick in you doing your job to help a journalist out. And as we know, that's how you get great coverage, when you are helping them out, when you're making their life easy. So these dates can be great when you don't have any particular real news, because then it's quite a hard thing to make your business timely. So if you've got something going on at the moment, like you've won an award, or you've had business growth that you can talk about, or you've done something particularly innovative, or you've launched something that's, life-changing, if you've got that kind of news, then you're going to get in the media. But if you don't have news around your business, sometimes it can be quite hard to generate content on a regular basis. So why should a journalist write about you right now versus other more topical stories that they may have received or they may be working on? So this works across all types of media, from magazines, if you plan far enough in advance, because you've got to be aware of their deadlines, which are often months in advance, to online blogs, to the online versions of magazines, to radio and even TV. So this approach works across the broad spectrum of media, which is another reason why it's really great to just get in on this little trick of the trade, if you like. So I thought today I will just share with you 3 examples of when this has recently worked for our clients, and also to give you a heads up on some of the dates that are coming up. Now, this is obviously timely to those of you who are listening to it kind of in real time. So those of you who are, get a massive benefit and bonus of the fact that I'm going to talk to you about events that are coming up in the next month. So I'm recording this at the moment in November. So the diary dates that I'm going to talk to you about are the ones that are coming up this month. Obviously, if you are listening to this way down the line, then you might just want to go and have a look at what's current for you right now. And in the show notes, there is a link to a resource that we use called Awareness Days, playful.com. Really simple URL to remember. And that basically tells you what events are coming up each month for the whole year. So you can get your head around actually what opportunities there are that you could tap into and you could pre-plan some content around. So that's there for you anyway. But for those of you who are with me right now, which is exciting, I'm going to tell you some of the ones that are imminent. Okay, so let's get into it. So I'm going to give you 3 examples, and these 3 examples are actually from our fabulous Dare to Be Seen clients. So these are clients that are in our 8-week PR accelerator, where they're basically handheld to make the most of PR opportunities throughout those 8 weeks to ensure that they are published within that time, to show that they're media ready, they're media friendly, and that they're creating content that is relevant and timely. So these are actually examples that happened within the first couple of weeks of this accelerator kicking off, which is insane. Like, it's insane that they had actually got themselves this level of coverage so early on. So we're super, super proud of them. So this is a little celebration of them as well. But it's some real life examples of this in practice. So the first example that I'm going to share with you is from a lady called Sarah. And Sarah is a teacher, was a teacher, I should say, who had been in that profession for many years and who has recently made the decision to make a massive life change and to quit teaching and to set up her own retail business, making candles and beautiful wreaths and gorgeous gifts. Now, Sarah actually was super, super nervous about being involved in our Dare to Be Seen program because she felt like she didn't have anything to offer. She was like, well, I quit teaching because I didn't like it anymore. It didn't feel right. And I wanted to do something that I was passionate about. But that's kind of all there is to it. I don't have anything interesting to say. I don't really have a story. I just felt like I'd had enough and I wanted to do something different. And obviously, the more we dug around that, the more we realised that there was so much more to it than that. And actually, Sarah's story is very much like many other stories in terms of she got to a point where she just wasn't happy. She got to a point where she just wasn't satisfied with her life and how it was going, how it had become moulded by this industry that she'd got kind of stuck in. So she realised that something had to change. And it's that sort of pivotal moment, isn't it, where we all kind of go, oh my God, what am I doing this for? What the hell is the point of this? Why am I making myself so stressed and so miserable? Like, something has to give. And she had that light bulb moment where in COVID, where she was like, no, this is not what I want. I've got 2 young kids. I want to spend time with them. I want to be in the room with them present. And she didn't feel like she was. So there is a lot of stuff that sits behind Sarah's story of why she decided to start this business. And a lovely part of the story is that actually she was inspired by a bay tree in her garden. And that's what her business is called, the Bay Tree. And she makes candles using the bay tree leaves. And it's just such a lovely, lovely inspirational story that is really visual. It's really quite simple to get your head around, but it's really seriously inspiring and motivating. Because when someone makes a massive leap like that, it makes you believe that actually it is important to follow your gut. It is important to follow your heart. And actually, if she can do it, then maybe you can too. So what we started to talk to Sarah about were the messages that sat behind why she started this business. And one of the really big things that came out was work-life balance. Now, it was work-life balance week a couple of weeks back. So obviously we showcased this to her and said, look, this is an opportunity for you to get your story out in the media, for you to make your story timely, and for you to use this as an opportunity to introduce your story to your local press. Sarah, being a star student, did exactly that and set about writing out her story and explaining why work-life balance had become so important to her and how she felt like she didn't have any. And the media picked it up immediately. She was interviewed straight away. She had a absolutely fabulous full piece in her local press. And it gave her the confidence to really believe that she had something to share that was interesting to others. And a lot of her message is about inspiring other mums to take kind of ownership of their lives and their careers and not feel like they have to be stuck doing something that they actually hate and that's making them really unhappy. And the whole idea of the candles is obviously to provide a little bit of kind of escapism, I suppose, and peace and calm and opportunities for us to just take that moment and breathe. And that's what she really, really needed in her own life. And that's what she's created with this business. So that was a really gorgeous example of how a diary date, like work-life balance, enabled her to open doors to share her story of actually why that was something that had inspired her business. So I love that one. And I will pop a link in the show notes to the Baytree so you can go and check out her gorgeous, gorgeous products. Okay, this next one's really fun. So this next one was one that we encouraged our lovely client, another Sarah, to get involved with around Halloween. Now, Halloween is obviously just a date in the diary. It's not like work-life balance week. It's not like something that's been created to actually provide opportunities for conversation around that subject. Halloween is just Halloween. But Halloween is a diary date. Halloween is something that the media talk about. It's a point in the year that kind of gives them a reference point to talk about different subjects. And what you've got to think about here is how you can be playful with the themes and the topics that come around Halloween, because this gives you a creative way of playing with your own content and playing with your own messaging. Now, Sarah is a dietitian, a nutrition, a leading pediatric dietitian, actually, who specializes in helping parents deal with the problem that we have often of our kids not eating. So she deals a lot with fussy eating in kind of the early years and advice for parents on how to manage that process and how to make sure it's not something that actually starts really bad habits with our kids and it starts bad relationships with food and it affects our relationship with our children as well, as we're fighting with them to try and get them to eat the right things that we want them to eat. So that's kind of Sarah's subject area. And we encouraged her to be a bit playful with her subject area. So obviously it can be quite serious, the subjects of obesity and the health related issues of whether your kids eat the right food or not. But we were like, no, come on, let's see how we can be a bit more playful with this and maybe get you into some different places that you wouldn't normally have thought about for PR. So what we did was we said to her, think about the themes around Halloween and think about the language that they use. And we came up with this content around, should you trick or treat your kids into healthy eating? Now, this went down an absolute storm because what it is, it's creative content. It's a completely different spin on a subject that has been done a million times before, but actually this was a very different angle. So it was a really interesting approach. What it enabled us to do was to weave in the wider messages around fussy eating. And Sarah's approach is very much don't trick your kids into eating healthy. And this is why this felt the right thing for her to play with, because she really believes that you've got to be in it together, actually just forcing them to eat vegetables by sort of squashing them all up into their food or blending them so that they don't know that they're there isn't the right thing, because psychologically they're not getting used to the idea of embracing that food. So it's really interesting to see how we could play with this. And that also then led to other media opportunities where the press had seen the articles that Sarah had put out in kind of wellbeing titles around this idea of do you trick or treat your kids? And they actually asked her, this was from a TV channel, they asked her whether she would be interested in going to talk to them about whether you should let your kids eat sweets at Halloween. So you see, it has a ripple effect. It has this real ripple effect of once you put yourself out there as an expert on something, then you attract the interest inbound, but also the fact that you've been seen to be playful and timely and kind of giving a nod to the topical content that the media need makes you seem to be useful and helpful. So that got Sarah some fabulous opportunities and also opened some doors to some absolutely like gold contacts for producers of national TV programs, where Sarah is now known as an expert who can talk about all sorts of things related to fussy eating. How awesome is that? Because we can see that we're going to see her on national TV as an expert in the very near future. So that one was one that was a really big win, one we were super excited about. And the last one that I just want to share with you is from another one of our Dare to Be Seen clients. This lady is called Kim, and Kim was talking about how to best budget this Christmas. Now, Christmas is another example like Halloween. It's a diary day that is just there. It's just an opportunity that is just sat there. And there's so much more content that you can do around Christmas than Halloween as well. So this is an absolute godsend and something that you could all think about as well, because timing wise, you've still got opportunity to hit this. So Kim actually did this piece quite a few weeks back and it's landed in Best Magazine, which is amazing. But also we're thinking about what other content we can create for her that's going to fit for still Christmas pieces that are coming out in the next few weeks and in the next month. So yes, get ahead of the game and try and pre-plan some content to fit with the deadlines of the magazines, but also, really keep going with it and keep milking it right up to the wire, because there's people that still talk about Christmas content right up to the day. So Kim's piece was all around how to best budget this Christmas. So Kim is somebody who is very much about empowering women to feel more in control of their money, to be more wealthy, to help them be more financially free and independent. And this kind of very traditional type of content in terms of how to budget around Christmas, it's not groundbreaking content in that it's a subject that's kind of rolled out every year, but actually being able to give her spin on things gave her a voice on, quite a regular subject and enabled her to get into national press as an expert on that subject. So it was fabulous. This one actually was a reactive response. So this was a call out from a journalist who was actually looking for experts in that field, and we'd managed to pitch Kim as someone that was perfect for it. The other two were proactive. So the other two were us creating content specifically with those diary dates in mind and pitching that out to media. So there's both ways that you can play this, and I would encourage you to try both ways. Definitely get on top of the planned activity, the proactive side of things, because that puts you in control. That means that you know that you are actually taking action to make the most of some of these opportunities, but also keep your eyes out for the reactive opportunities that come in when the journalists are also looking for this kind of content, because that happens like right up to the wire, like I said. So to finish off today, I am just going to share with you some of the dates that are coming up, because these really can give you huge wins in playing the PR game, because you're giving journalists what they need when they need it, when they want it. So if you can crack this, you are winning at certainly one element of PR. So let me just run through a few dates that are coming up for those of you who are with me right now. So November is National Career Development Month. Now, this is a great one for any of you who are in that field that have content that could help around really helping people think about how they can up-level their career, about how they can develop their skills, about how they can do personal development, any HR type content. So have a think about if that's something that is going to work for you and how you could make that different and interesting. So this is the thing. What you want to be thinking about when you're looking at these dates is how you can stand out in that conversation, because yes, these are kind of standard subject areas, but also remember there's going to be other people that are going to be talking about this at the same time. You are not going to be the only person having a voice on this subject. So you need to make sure that you stand out. You need to make sure that you are really mindful of how you are being brand you. If you listen back to my podcast a few episodes ago where we were really talking about being brand you, being individual and thinking about what is the angle that you bring, what is the take that you bring, what is the sort of slant that you bring to this. And I pointed you to Nikki James, who is a fabulous colleague of mine who talks very much around brand you. So go and have another look at that one if this is something that you feel like you might need to just revisit. So the next one that's coming up, there's one called Sugar Awareness Week. So obviously this is great for anyone who is in that sort of dietitian, nutrition, health and wellbeing space. And there's loads of things that you could do there. So top tips are going to be great. If you've got any personal stories that you want to share, health stories around your own sort of weight loss journey or diet journey or health journey, then they will be really well received. That's from the 8th of November to the 14th. Money Talk Week is the 9th to the 12th. So there's lots of stuff that Kim can be doing around this. Money Talk Week, there's so many discussions that need to be had around money. And this again gives you a chance to share your personal stories as well as to share expertise and knowledge. There's a couple of really nice ones that have come up around kindness, and this is more a values thing. So this is more thinking about how you can illustrate what values you stand for, maybe thinking about what activity you could do to actually support these days. This is a bit more of something that's kind of needs a bit more proactive approach, because you're going to have to think about, well, how am I going to honour these days? What am I going to try and encourage to happen on these days? So there's World Kindness Day on the 13th of November, and there is Social Media Kindness Day on the 9th of November. So have a think about how you could embrace those, how you can be a part of those, how you can be a part of that conversation. And maybe you just think, well, I don't have time to do this media-wise, but if you're just going to do it on social even, it still gets you in the conversation. And go and search out the hashtags that are being used around these days, and you can be a part of this conversation. And then maybe next year you could think about doing something a bit bigger and a bit more proactive. Another couple coming up, Alcohol Awareness Day on the 15th, Anti-Bullying Week on the 15th. Again, they are perfect for case studies as well as advice and tips kind of content. Towards the end of November, we've got International Leadership Week on the 22nd. So that's another great one for anyone who is really involved in development, personal development. And then moving into December, we've got Grief Awareness Day early in December on the 2nd. And this is something that I know a lot of our clients have been sort of directed to do what they do as a result of something negative happening to them. And sometimes that does involve grief. Sometimes that does involve something that's happened in their life that has been very hard for them to deal with, the loss of someone. And this could be an opportunity to share your story, to inspire other people. So something to think about there. And then when you get to January, you've got so much opportunity in terms of New Year, New You type content. That's always stuff that the media want in January. So start thinking about that now. Start thinking about what you could create that makes you different, that brings a different sound to that conversation, that could get people interested and excited. And January is also National Mentoring Month, so another great one for all you coaches out there. So there's loads of opportunities, and that's what I want you to kind of take from today, that actually this is really quite simple. This is really quite a simple strand of PR, and it's really quite fun. It's really quite playful. So that's the vibe that I want you to take it in. I want you to have a think about how you could be playful with this stuff. How could you bring a bit of personality into some of these conversations, into some of these subjects that are covered time and time again, but how can you bring you to it? How can you bring a different slant to it? Because that's when the power of PR really works, when you take something and you put your individual stamp on it. So that's what I would love to see. And I can't wait to see what goes on around me in these next few months of you guys being proactive and actually getting out there. Please do share with me. Please do tag me on social media and let me know of any of your wins. I absolutely love celebrating your wins. I love hearing from you. People that have been listening to the podcast and gone, oh my God, I tried that and it worked. Oh my God, I got my first piece of coverage. Like, that is what makes this all so worth it. So please do share those wins with me. I will pop in the show notes the links to all the people that I've mentioned, so you can go and check those out, and also the link to that Awareness Day website, which is fabulous. So I hope that's been helpful. Like I said, it's a bit lighter, it's a bit shorter, but I hope you've got some real value out of that. Have a fabulous rest of the week, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening to PR Powerhouse with me, Jo Swan. If you want to feel empowered and supported and excited about getting in the press, come and join us in our free community over on Facebook at PR You Can Do It. I would absolutely love to see you there so I can help you take those next steps to getting in the media.